because I was been thinking about this idea that for whatever reason, well, what's the opposite of joy? There's joy on the one hand, it's zman simchatenu, but I don't know, anxiety, sadness, like those, fury, anger, temptation, all these, right? All of those, the opposite, seem to be. Yeah, I would put it differently, but not far off, that it seems to be just a drop of those things seem to spoil the larger bucket of joy, right? Like you can be such a happy time, and then just a drop of anxiety seems to be very pungent, very potent. So I keep that in mind. That it is an emotional roller coaster. Let's hold on. So I want to start with this poem, just titled Joy. Joy is not a thing you can see. It is what you feel when you watch waves breaking, or when you peer through a net of woven violet stems in spring grass. It is not sunlight, not moonlight, but a separate shining. Joy lives behind people's eyes. I think we understand this even more post-COVID, right? Because you would say, I can't see people smiling. And then what would we say? People smile with their eyes. Right. That we see people smiling with their eyes. We see their joy through their eyes. Now, joy also is hidden right in plain sight in front of us. And I want to credit Chazan Lubin, actually, for this. So on the ark doors behind me, artistically, there's Hebrew, and you've looked at it a lot. Just you've probably never noticed it, though. It's just sort of there. So let's look at what it says. It says, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha. Okay, going from down top to bottom. Ivdu et Hashem besimcha, ba'u lefanav beranana. Okay, it comes from Psalm 100, and Bill and Abe and I were sitting, and we were told we had to pick a verse or something for this, and Abe said, let's pick this verse from Psalm 100, and it says that worship God besimcha, with joy. Come before him in Biranana. It's sort of a synonym as well. Also with gladness, right? From Psalm 100.
No, I'm saying Biranana also means song.
Oh, and to come with song. Song. So joy is all over. Joy is right in our midst, and it is perfect that we have that right in front of us. So no matter what we are coming with, that brings us into this room, that's sort of what part of what we want to come in and in our relationship with God. So here we are, we're at Sukkot, we're just beginning, Zman Simchatenu, and this is our goal. So from Leviticus, we're not going to go through all the texts, but here we have the first text from Leviticus 23 tells us we should have a festival of tabernacles, 8 days. We should have this extra day. It should be 7 days with a bonus day on it. And what do we get? What's that bonus day called? The 8th day of Sukkot? Right, Shmini Atzeret, exactly, right? Terrific. So I love this idea because no one knows what Shmini Atzeret is. But now we know that it is just simply a bonus day, and there's an argument: should you say a bracha when you sit in the sukkah? You don't say a bracha, but you should still sit in the sukkah anyway. All of those things. But I like the Rashi on this. So the Rashi has this great image for this holiday that we don't know what it is, but we've had this 7 days of joyfulness, and we don't want it to end. So Rashi says that that I will keep you back with me, with God, one more day. It is similar to the case of a king who invited his children to a banquet for a certain number of days. And when the time arrived for them to take their departure, he said, children, I beg of you, stay one day more with me. So it is so hard for me to part with you. Right? That we've had this time in the sukkah with God, and God just doesn't want us to leave. And so we have this atzeret. We have this extra bonus day. And it always reminds me of my mom who's not godlike, but has wisdom. Right? Well, that was actually the test to see if she was zooming in or not. But what she says with wisdom is she always says it's never enough. Yeah, Mom, you've been here for 4 weeks. Maybe it's enough. And God and Rashi say it's never enough, right? That's what Shmini Atzeret is. It's my mom's wisdom of it's never enough. But let's move on, because the other boxes that I brought, the other text, just reinforce this idea that this is about joy, right? So at the bottom of page 1, right, on the first day you shall take the product of the hadar trees and branches of the palms and the burrows of leaves, willows of the brook, and you shall rejoice before the eternal your God 7 days, right? Usmachtem lifnei Adonai, that you should have sameach, where you should have joy before God. And you shall observe the festival, the eternals, for 7 days of the year. You shall observe the 7th month of the law for all time, throughout the ages. You shall dwell in booths 7 days. All citizens of Israel shall dwell in booths. And why do we dwell in booths? In order that future generations may know that I made the Israelite people dwell in booths when I brought them out of the land of Egypt, right? So that the reason for the sukkah itself, the structure, is because the Torah is telling us that the Israelites lived in Sukkot on their way out, and so we should make that connection. And then in Deuteronomy, right? So it's interesting. The idea of Yitziat Mitzrayim is everywhere. It's everywhere, including unexpectedly in Sukkot. And then in Deuteronomy, you shall enjoy your festival, or rejoice in your festival. And who? With your sons, daughters, male, female slaves, the Levites, the stranger, the fatherless, the widow in your community. You shall hold a festival for the eternal your God in the place that God chooses, for the eternal your God will bless you with all your crops and your undertaking, and you shall have nothing but joy. Right? Again, it just keeps coming over and over and over again. Now, let's see what the limits to our joy is, though. So, right, because joyfulness can be pretty excessive. Right? Think of Simchat Torah, of maybe a little too much frivolity going on here. Alcohol, exactly. So someone want to read the Maimonides Mishnah Torah here? So, okay, Britt Marie. Please. Perfect. Let's start going in the first paragraph there. Yeah.
When a person eats, drinks, and celebrates on a festival, he should not let himself become overly drawn to drinking wine, mirth, and levity, saying whoever indulges in these activities more is increasing his observance of the mitzvah of rejoicing. For drunkenness, profuse mirth, and levity are not rejoicing, their frivolity
and foolishness. Great, let's stop there, right? So someone that says that the more you drink, the more you are following the mitzvah, is not accurate, right? Is not accurate, right? There's got to be a balance here between joy and something that tips over to frivolity and foolishness, right? So, and we are not commanded to indulge in frivolity or foolishness, but rather to rejoice. So while we want to have ample amounts of joy and rejoicing at this moment, maybe because of Yitziat Mitzrayim, but I also think that Sukkot, which is my favorite holiday, Ruth just heard me say this when I was called on in the study group to say this. It's my favorite holiday because we've just come from a period of intense introspection. right? That if we did Yom Kippur at all a little bit right, maybe we identified some issues that are going on with ourselves. Maybe we spent some time to actually think of what we have done wrong this year, and then all of a sudden, and we get that drop of anxiety or fear or of anger, those negative things, and it would be so easy to let that spoil the whole vast amount of blessing that we have. And so we are literally pushed out of our houses 5 days later at Sukkot, and to say, no, this is a time of joy. The truth of Yom Kippur, that is real. And it's not all of you, right? All of the Yashamnu, all of the Al-Chait, that is part of you, that is part of me, but it is not all of me. And so I am pushed out of my house into the sukkah to feel the power of the elements that are beyond ourselves, right? Of the coolness of the air, the leaves changing, and to stop looking exclusively inside like we do during the holidays, and to embrace the joy that is actually all around us and beyond ourselves. Right? So I wouldn't be the first person to admit that I've had a few cocktails in a sukkah before. But there has to be a balance between those activities of joyfulness and actually being joyful, right? I think that this Mishnah Torah gives us a sense, it gives us a direction of balancing alcohol within Judaism as well. But that's a different sermon. So then the bottom one says, although it's a mitzvah to rejoice on all the festivals, on the Sukkot holiday, there's a time for overabundant joy. And here's a description of what overabundant joy looked like in the temple, right? And how was the joy performed? The flute was struck, and the violin and harp and cymbals were played, right? A band was out there at the temple, and every person played any instrument that they knew how to play. And those who knew to sing sang, and they danced and bowed and clapped and spun and crowed, and each according to their ability, right? Which means you didn't have to be a good singer to sing. Thank goodness for me. You don't have to play the instrument well to play, right? It was about communal experience of buying into this time of joy, and spoke words of praise and song. But again, my mind just wants to be that doesn't supersede Shabbat or Yontif as well, right? So what I want us to think about is what are the things that prevent us from living in joy? Right? What are the barriers that we put up in our life that, because just a drop of that really spoils everything else. So why do we temper our joy? Maybe we need to leave more space for it. So that's sort of a challenge I want us to think about. It's not just a time of right now. Throughout the year, let's make time for joy. Let's make time to appreciate the people, the experiences, the blessings that we have in our life, because the other stuff is real. It's going to happen. And let's make sure that it's not joy, it's not anxiety spoiling joy, but maybe it's joy counteracting the anxieties that we walk with. Shabbat Shalom. Chag Sameach.